So I'm here to talk about TBRs today. I've seen some things on some other booktube channels saying, oh, I only have like 30 books on my TBR, or I have, maybe 50 or 100. And I recently decided to do a project to find out exactly how many books I had on my TBR or how many books on my shelves I had not read. And the staggering number was actually over 300. And I knew I had a lot of books. I was thinking I was close to the 200 range. And then even that part of it, I decided to check to see, I didn't count all the ones, like if I have a series going and I've read 4 of the books, but I haven't read all the way to 6. I only counted the first book that I hadn't read. So that's still over. It was over 300. I think it's almost closer to 350 now after my 2 book hauls I had for my birthday, as well as the library book haul that I had, library book sale. So I've kind of put myself on a book ban for books that are not already pre-ordered. I admit I am a pre-order. I pre-order all my favorite authors. I make sure I get those books, even in the series that I'm still continuing to read that I have maybe not caught up yet. And I'm going to do a little bit more working on those series, as well as trying to finish out some would be nice. But of course, most of my series are still continuing on the ones I haven't finished. So I'll do what I can. Anyway, so I have 350 books pretty much on my TBR, which doesn't mean that they're books, all of them I really want to read. A lot of them I've bought over the years, and some of them I'm ready to get rid of. I just need that chance to, start to read it and then decide if I'm going to get rid of it or going to continue on with that series or try that book out and try that new series. I don't know. So I decided to make, because I've saw it here, some on BookSale and several places have like TBR jars. Well, I got a big one just in case, but I wrote really teeny pieces of paper. I actually typed it all up so I could keep track of what I've read and not read. I like Excel a lot when it comes to tracking stuff. I track all my reading and my writing and a lot of my activities on that. It's just easier for me to look back. I have a horrible memory on a lot of things, and by writing down when I was writing something or when I was reading something, it kind of, or I went on some day trip or something somewhere, I can look back and say, oh, that's right, it was on that day. So I do, anyway, I track a lot of things in Excel. So I wrote everything into my Excel sheet. As I said, it's over 350, and cut up the little pieces and put them in this. And I got a really big one because it was really pretty. I really liked it. And I had a gift card at Fred Meyer, so it was free for me. Anyway, so I've decided that I still have books that I personally want to read that I just recently got or just strikes my mood, but I want to at least once a month, if not twice, pull a slip from the jar or from the container here and say, hey, these are the books I have to read in the next 2 months. I'm going to give myself 2 months, and I have to at least try to read them. And if I decide not to read it, then I'll have to get rid of it. So a lot of them are like the second book in a series. Like I read the first book and really enjoyed it, and I just didn't continue on. So a lot of these are going to be like commitments to a series. So like some of them I have read, as I said, read the first book, second book I didn't get to right away. So then now I have to reread the first book and then continue on. So, but this is my goal, to try to get through a lot of the stuff I've read, and I've had to put kind of myself a stop on getting a lot of stuff from. Sorry about that. My cats are in the background making noises. Sorry. So I'm trying to cut back on my library hauls, like getting books from the library, because I was getting so many books in that were new that I wasn't paying for, which was great, but I also wasn't reading all the ones that I was buying or have bought in the past. And as I said, this collection's been going on for many years, so it's not like I just got a book buying problem. I've been like this probably since high school, and these books have traveled with me to many states as I move. So now that I'm in I'm staying here for a while in my home, and finally got my library built up. So now I have to kind of read the stuff I have here because I need to work on that. Anyway, so So that's one part of my TBR tackling. I found out 19 books on Goodreads that I'm partially started or currently reading on there. And some of them are from like 2 or 3 years ago. I just never took off. I do want to finish those books. I just didn't. So what I thought about doing is, and then I have another stack of books that are borrowed from family members or friends. And I've tried to weed out those as well at this point. I just read a book last night. I finished this week I read it, but I finished it last night that I borrowed from my brother, so I can give that back. But that was just one of I'm going to say about 12 books I have borrowed, although technically about 8 of those my aunt said I don't have to give back. She said I could just keep them, and I'm like, I'm not sure I'm going to read them. I don't know. Anyway, we'll talk about that at another video. Anyway, so pretty much I just want to get through those 19 books, check them off, either decide I'm DNFing them or not finishing them and getting them off the list, or I'm going to take the time and finish those and move on. So I have knocked off, which I know I just said I had 19, but I had 20 at one point. So at least I knocked off one earlier this month. So I'm going to kind of offset my books. So as I said, I have books that I want to read currently that are either books I've just bought or ones I'm in the mood to buy or in the mood to read. Sorry. Or now I want to add in my TBR draw that at least once a month, pull one of those and then have to read that within the next month or two. And then offset then that to the third category of the currently read books or a borrowed book from a family member or from somebody. So I'm trying to this is kind of my new thing I want to try. I'm not sure it's going to work. It's started work the last 2 months, so I thought, hey, I'll just, now that I'm here on BookTube, I'll put it out there and see if anybody else does that, where they have a huge TBR, but also have a lot of unfinished books that they've already started, or have books that they've borrowed from other people, or even library books. Like, as I said, I've cut back on my library books so that I get one at a time once in a great while. That's okay, but I don't get the big stacks I used to get, which I would, read through those first and then leave everything I've already purchased sitting on the shelf. So, because one of my friends told me I had to stop and had to start reading the books I owned first. Anyway, so I've been doing that. So anyway, so I thought as a way to wrap up this video, I'll probably do another video on my currently reads list, the 19 books, because I think that'll take a while. So, and then decide which one I should pick next to read. But right now I thought I would draw the one that I'm going to do this next time. I'm going to read in the next month or so. So as I said, it's kind of late in the month. I'll try to do them here and there. I'm not sure if I'm going to do them at, the beginning of the months and just so I'll know, or if I'll, do it when I've read a couple of books I've liked, and then a borrowed book, and then maybe go pull one. I don't know. I'll have to see I haven't decided that part yet. I just know I have to do at least once a month. So here's my once a month for May. So that means I got to get it done in the next 2 months. And okay, so it's Generation V by M.L. Brennan. Oh, I'm not going to be able to show that, right? Can you see that? And I think it's right here. Sorry. Oops, sorry. Sorry. Anyway, so I will be reading this book and the next 2 months. All I know is it's a vampire book. And as I said, I read a lot of urban fantasies. I read a lot of fantasy genre overall. I read a lot. I'm pretty eclectic in a lot of things. There's just a few genres I don't like to read. But I am looking forward to this. This is one that has been on my shelf for at least a year. I picked it up used a little while ago, and I'll probably pick this up pretty soon. So my first pick is pretty good. I was a little worried I was going to pick up one that was like I was in the middle of a series, and I'd have to start rereading or read more into the series. This one I think is like the first in the series, so here we go again. That if I decide I like it and I want to get more, then I have to put the second book into the jar or continue reading right away. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's kind of my TBR plan at this point, to kind of reduce what I'm doing, and I hope it works. If you have any comments or have any suggestions on maybe a better strategy, I'm all for it. As I said, I have a lot of books to read, and a lot of them I want to finish, and a lot I just need to get through, and I got a lot to do. Anyway, see you later.